So I had this conversation with the conversation I had with the guy the other day, and it's kind of all over the place, because typically when you're having a conversation with people that don't really have a concept of sort of an apologetic approach to how to share the platform and do some mirror talking and things like that. The guy essentially was, constantly reminding me that, I shouldn't, or we as people shouldn't tell other people, how to believe or what to believe, and of course this was just life stuff and religion and everything political and things like that. But I kept trying to explain that the thing that you're telling me that we shouldn't do, right, you're actually doing it. He wasn't getting that he wasn't getting that. He was telling me how we should live, and he was telling me how we should not tell people what to believe, and constantly reminding me that this is just how I feel, or this is just what I believe, and everybody's opinion is theirs. But again, in that, what you're doing is you're telling me, right, how I should approach these conversations with other people, which is to say, this is how you should live. This is how you should believe. You see, when people do that, they don't realize that the very thing they're telling you not to do, they are doing themselves. And then there was a lot of conversation about judgment. You shouldn't judge, right? And would use scripture to inform me that what I was doing was sinful. But when I use scripture in the same dialogue, I was reminded, oh, of course, scripture. Yeah, I don't believe in any of that crap anyways. Okay, so you can use my sword against me, but when I attempt to use the same sword that you're taking out of my hand to use against me, you don't allow me permission to use the same sword. You see, when we look at John 7, we're reminded that righteous judgment is to be used, right? And so if it's within the parameters of Scripture, judgment doesn't always have to be harsh and mean and all of these things. Typically, judgment is more comfortable. But if I make a judgment concerning someone's taillight, being too dim and it probably needs a new bulb, hey man, you should probably go to Walmart and pick up a bulb. That's a judgment. I've seen, right, that there's a problem, and then I mention how to fix it or give a solution to that. That's a judgment. It is my judgment that you should go to Walmart, pick up a bulb, and fix that. That doesn't mean that it's mean. You see, but this person was constantly communicating with me that there was judgment, and as if judgment always had to be mean. But that's not the case. A judgment, we make judgments all the time. Pretty much everything we direct our attention to and how we approach it, there's a judgment that is made. So trying to help him understand that was also not something that was received. But again, the mental faculties don't have what it takes to communicate his mind, he can't communicate that judgment is something that we do in just about everything that we do, as far as decision making is concerned. And so oftentimes when we're, dealing with or having these conversations with people, you'll see that their demeanor will change. They'll become almost like I'm a victim and you're victimized. What they try to do is flip it around, because once they do start to see a little bit of how you're expressing what they're doing, the discomfort says, I'm being attacked, right? And so just being patient through some of that can be a little bit of a challenge, but it's necessary so that the individual can catch a glimpse in hopes that maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but somewhere down the road, the next time they have this conversation with somebody, they'll see that what they're doing is exacting some kind of a judgment. It's their estimation, a judgment, that this should or this shouldn't, or this needs, or whatever the case is. But yeah, in everything we do, there's always going to be a judgment. False judgment is, because by nature we're presuppositionalists, we presuppose a lot. It's necessary for us to go within our presupposition and really try to see if there's any truth, and not impulsively leap too quick into a judgment. And if that's the case, then we do good to at least go inside of our own mental faculties and kind of view those things. Otherwise, what we end up doing is passing some kind of a judgment that's inaccurate. And false judgment within the parameters of Scripture is actually a sin. So that's all I got.